Monday, the 4th of July 2022. On the 24th of June, President Putin made a speech at the BRICS conference, BRICS summit. And it is really a pity that the Western media do not really report on things like this. What is a reality today is that the BRICS component is growing, and there's a lot of things happening in BRICS while the West is shrinking. Now, during this time of the Ukraine special military operation, a lot of attention was given to how important Ukraine is for food and whatever. But it has been grossly overstated. And at the same time, the Western media basically refused to report anything positive from Russia, and their focus was on smearing Putin and smearing Russia and lying about what's happening in Ukraine. But while that military operation was going on, Russia was also very involved in expanding the BRICS bloc. And they were paying attention to what was happening in the non-Western world. And we all know how deliberately Biden tried to destroy the Russian economy and destroy the ruble and all the sanctions and so forth. But I want to handle the main points that Putin made at the BRICS summit. Russia is ready to fulfill its obligation on energy and fertilizer supplies. Now, the reality on that point is, it was not Russia that cut Europe off from energy. It was Europe that made the decision to cut themselves off from the energy. The West artificially raising an uproar over problems with the delivery of Ukrainian grain. Now, on this point, I must say, I'm sick and tired of hearing that story. Because if you just go and do a little bit of investigation, you will realize that the first thing that Ukraine did was to mine all the harbors on the Black Sea. They mined it, and they sunk ships in the entrances to the harbor. So they personally, themselves, blocked all exports from their harbors, not the Russians. The imbalance in global relations has been long overdue and is an inevitable outcome of the line of erosion of international law. Now, we know about all the stories that are being told of how wrong Russia is, but nowhere do they ever highlight the things that the West is doing. And since the Second World War, America has been continuously involved in wars all over the globe. And they go into these third countries, they destroy the people, they destroy the countries. While they're doing these things, they strip those countries from their natural resources. Some countries have constantly sought to replace the security architecture with some kind of rules. And this is what the West has done. They bring all these rules, but nowhere do they ever acknowledge what they are actually doing to these countries. The sanctions against Russia is a very clear indication of how brutal the West is really. They put all those financial sanctions on Russia, and in that process they made it impossible for many countries to trade with Russia because of the restrictions on SWIFT. So America can say, yeah, but we are not blocking food supplies from Russia. But they prevent the countries from paying for those food. And that has made Russia take the step of replacing the SWIFT system. And in the BRICS system, they also now provide a messaging system to banks of BRICS members. So the BRICS members can buy and purchase and pay for goods from Russia. The current problems of global trade and the monetary and financial system were caused not by the special operation in Ukraine, but by the irresponsible politics of the West. And that is the truth. The West has been doing this, and for a very long time. They have been printing money without any restraints. They have generated their own inflation problems, and now they want to blame it on Russia. And I don't think this is going to end well for the West. But in the meantime, BRICS is expanding, and I see that Russia is now also changing the rules around commodities. Russia is now turning its attention to soft commodities. It is demanding payment in rubles for grain, sunflower oil, and extracted meal. The West still has no idea what is going on. This whole plan is going to go very, very much sideways for the so-called collective West.